essay. I also want to acknowledge Kiara. Thank you so much for your work on the keyboards. And thank you to, and apologies, Danny. It's my great pleasure to introduce our alumni speaker, Miles Levin. Yeah, it's well-deserved. Miles is one of those alumni whose involvement in our community has continued to deepen since he graduated in 2013. As a student at SA, Miles was active in theater, playing lead roles in many shows. His former teachers describe him as a friend to anyone, a kind and mature, deep thinker. Miles began his journey with filmmaking here at Sonoma Academy, creating shorts and even a full-length film. He has returned to SA to teach multiple intercession courses, and for the past 2 years, he led summer camps alongside his former student and fellow filmmaker, Chris Cam. Miles describes himself as a disability activist who makes movies, and he uses the medium of film as a tool for his advocacy work. Later this year, Miles will release his first feature-length film, Under the Lights, starring Lake Bell and Nick Offerman. Please give an SA welcome to our alumni speaker, Miles Levin.
Hi, I'm Miles, and that was a really nice way of saying that the impressive alums live on the East Coast, and this took me 7 minutes in traffic. I'm speaking to a mix today. Some of you are just getting here, and some are on the final lap, and I myself am in my twilight years. I recently turned 30. It's been a slow and steep decline. I come back to this place a lot, not because I chase nostalgia, but because I really cherish the opportunity to pass on what I've learned in what has been a very long and fruitful life. I shadowed at SA 2 times. The first time I got here, and the first thing I saw was a kid shirtless in the Buckeye tree. Really windy day. He was getting whipped back and forth, hanging onto the branches for dear life, and my parents said, "What'd you think?" And I said, "Absolutely not." Because this went against every notion that TV movies had sold me about what high school looked like. And so I went and I shadowed the school where all my friends were gonna go. And I sat in a class where there were more than 30 kids in English class. And I remember the gum on the bottom of the desks. And I remember the kid right next to me carving his name into the wood. And so I came back. I tried it one more time. And there were kids rolling down the grass at lunchtime in this amphitheater before they put in the concrete and ruined the fun. And I also sat in classes where the kids were listening to teachers who were passionately giving them their all. And I said, "Mom, Dad, I want to go to school where kids want to learn." I'm going to be really honest with you. My first few years here were really tough. I left all my friends behind to be here. My whole class would have fit right here, 40 kids. Our convocation, all 4 years of my time here, fit in that courtyard. So it was really hard for me to find students that shared my interests. And I was disappointed when I got here to find that I never saw another kid in the Buckeye tree. There were 2 kids that gave me a really hard time while I was here. And so when you give a speech and you're telling a story about real life, living, breathing people, the ethical thing is to change their names. So we're gonna say they're Morgan and Stephen, because those are their real names. Morgan was brooding. He hated everything. He hated the world. Everything made him cringe. Stephen loved to make ski videos, and his prized possession was his precious Steadicam. And when the homework wasn't buffering, and when what we called web school at the time would crash, someone would have to go hunt Stephen down on his free period, because in 2011, all it took to bring Sonoma Academy to its knees was one kid in the library watching ski videos in HD. Our math teacher, Nicole, would tell us that if we did 2 more problem sets, we could go to lunch early. She'd say, "Stephen, do 1, please." And he'd say, "Nicole, I just want to live my life. I'm going pro. I'm going pro." Stephen would last 2 years at Sonoma Academy before being asked to leave. I was crushed by the idea that these were supposed to be the best years of my life because I was really lonely. There are 2 mistruths that adults pass to you, knowingly or unknowingly, when you're a teenager. And the first one is that these are the best years of your life. Enjoy them while they last. It's remarkable how fast your brain will wipe the servers of how difficult it is to be a teenager. When you turn 30, I promise you, you will also make jokes about feeling old because so much will have happened in what feels like no time at all. And these times feel simple to us because we weren't paying taxes. That's it. The fact is that there are few more confusing times than when you are in high school. And whether you love your time here or there's challenges, it gets a lot better. That's a really good thing. There's a spoken or unspoken suggestion that by the time you're 18 or 19, you really should have figured out as much as possible about yourself, because the next step is picking your path. Maybe it's college, and whether you find the right fit for yourself means that you end up on the path with the right opportunities that set you up for the good life, or you're derailed and lost. And that's not true at all. The fact is that if you're lucky, like me, life is long, and it's full of twists and turns, and there's opportunities that you could never see coming. Opportunity is not fixed to a path. It is fixed to a person that remains curious. And Sonoma Academy was built to help you be that person. Everything changed for me at SA when I took this intercession on short filmmaking. We were asked to make 5-minute shorts. I made a whole movie because I was really enthralled by the challenge of being more. And I became confident in myself. I started to figure out not who I was, but maybe what I wanted to be. Stephen really struggled in high school. It wasn't his thing. But he was also a tremendous explorer. Stephen stuck around the whole summer to help me film that movie. Now, he threatened to quit every single day, but he stuck with me. He became my friend. And life didn't turn out for Stephen the way that he expected. He no longer makes movies. He no longer owns his precious Steadicam. He sold it because he owns the company that makes Steadicams. And by sheer cosmic coincidence, it's called Pro. The guy went pro. He did it. And it has fantastic Wi-Fi. Morgan still broods. He broods a lot less, but he also traveled to different countries studying volcanoes and became my first roommate. We go on vacation together every Thanksgiving. So I want you to understand that when you go forward in life after this, it gets harder to chase new interests. It becomes harder to reinvent yourself. You can. The opportunities are there. You just have to hunt it. You have to pursue it. You have to make sacrifices for it. The options aren't just in your lap. It's likely that someone here behind you made a tremendous sacrifice for you to be here. You also have a lot of distractions at your fingertips. So here's a quote that really rings true for me. You were born too late to explore the earth. You were born too early to explore the stars, but you were born just in time to explore memes. But I want to warn you that there will come a moment in your life where you will realize that you will never again have a teacher like Brandon Spars, like Jamie Murray, like Jennifer Cote, or any of the people here that give you their best every day. There are going to be two kinds of essay students in this really brief window in your life. There are going to be the ones who take advantage of all of the options that are placed in their lap. And there will be the ones that get it over with. There will be the students who go to the Buckeye tree, who realize that they can see the sun set over the county from their campus. And there will be the ones who forget it's there and walk by it. I hope genuinely that you don't discover who you are while you're at Sonoma Academy. I don't think that's what Sonoma Academy asks you to do. I want you to remain curious, I want you to explore, and I want you to accept the invitation that is abundant from the world for you to be a part of it. Freshmen, I'm going to give a little advice that's a little different than Tamar here. Freshmen, this is a really big jump, and the first 2 weeks are going to be crazy, and it's going to be a lot, and you're going to be fine. It's going to level out. Sophomores, this is the best time for you to step outside your comfort zone. Take classes that you don't think you're interested in. It pays off. Juniors, a lot of stress on your shoulders this year. There are so many deadlines. However, your whole life does not live or die on this moment, but it is vital that you give it your best. Seniors, you did it. You made it to the finish line. In your second semester, almost all of you will take your foot off the gas. It is a sign of respect to give your best to the people who give you their best every day. In this place, on this mountain, you have an opportunity that is unlike any you will ever have again. So go to the Buckeye tree, feel the wind, see the view, wear a shirt. It's in the handbook. There's a lot that's not in your control, but largely you are given the privilege of choice. So don't choose who you're supposed to be. Choose to be more. There will be two kinds of essay students. Which will you be?
Thank you, Miles. I appreciate it. You make us proud.